What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. This is sort of a little hybrid between After Dark and just the lab. And we're going to cover some true crime cases like normal. There's a few that I wanted to talk about. We'll talk about Rex Heuermann, which was, just wild. And then also we'll talk about the doctor, that stupid doctor from Hawaii who was found guilty. No shocker there. The shocking part was that he thought that he would be found not guilty. That's the shocking part. That's what really, and then he just cries like a little baby, like, somebody who's capable of smashing somebody's head with a rock, But we'll talk about that more here in a little bit. And looks like No Nads might be on his way out. Once again, not a surprise. He's got 2 weeks, they say. 2 weeks to come up with the answers to the questions that he's been avoiding and lying about or misremembering, whatever sort of amnesia bullcrap he's going to come up with. And that he will have something. Clerical errors, be damned. Megyn Kelly hates Donald Trump. Although, one time I was watching Megyn Kelly and she was giving a review of the movie Nuremberg and said that she hated it. And so, ever since then, I've just pretty much written her off out of my life. Not that she's a part of my life in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just saying that that was surprising as well. Anyway, yeah, the Rex Heuermann situation is troubling at best. And I hate the fact, that I get it's a court of law and that he sits there so smug and polite. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. And you're sitting there just looking like this is the guy that kidnapped, tortured, beheaded, dismembered, whatever it is that you want to call what he did, which to 8 women. And he just sits there, and everybody has to treat him with respect. When he obviously respects nobody. I mean, nobody. How could he? But, he'll play nice so he can get his deal. That's what he's doing. That's what he did. To spare, in my opinion, to spare his family the humiliation and the screw tightening that prosecutors were going to do, and they were. They would have went after them in a major way. Does Rex have property in about her state? So I do not believe. I don't know if New York has the death penalty or not. I don't think so. I don't think it does. Apparently, he asked for butter as a part of his deal. Josh, you have impending live here too. What the hell? Hold on. I tried to delete it. Really? Hold on. Let me see if I can get rid of it. This is so stupid. For some reason, it will not. Hold on. I have to delete it here. Are there people waiting in that lobby? Oh my God. There are. Okay, hold on. I got you. Thank you. Delete forever. That's right. Forever. Not just now, but forever. And we'll make that permanent. Make it permanent! Make it permanent now! It's permanent. It's gone. She gone. She gone. All right, anyway. So, if you would, please hit that like button on the way in, and then we will talk a bit about the Nancy Guthrie case as well, because Nanos, I don't think that that's going to, personally, I don't think it's going to solve anything, getting rid of the sheriff, because the genie doesn't go back in the bottle. Pandora, you can't unopen Pandora's door. You know, it's done. You know, it's so far down the road already. I just, look, do I think that he should be the sheriff? Not if he lied. Not if he lied about his shit. When you lie about, your qualifications and the fact that, like, a lot of these things that he lied about would have been disqualifying factors in most situations as running for sheriff. And now, his opponents should have been able to use that against him when running against him. I mean, that's just fair, right? I mean, that's part of running for office. Be sure your sins will find you out. It says that in the Bible. I don't know where it says it, but I know that it does. And that's a life lesson for all of us. Be sure your sins will find you out, because they do. They come back, jaws a snapping. And it seems as though he got away with it for so long. He got away with the pontificating and lying about his resume. And then he got thrust into this enormous case. The likes that it's the biggest case. What a case. Wow, what a case. It's a big case. Nanos, the numbnuts, he didn't know that this was going to happen. And I fully believe that he thought that he was going to sort of ride the horse in and go, well, it's going to get solved. And then it doesn't get solved. That's why he was out there in front. My investigator's this. But the thing is, he's not even in charge of the investigation. Now he's not. Now that the investigation seems to be going nowhere. It's going nowhere. Nowhere fast. Wow, I said this case isn't going anywhere. Feels like that. So anyway, we'll start off with the Hawaii crybaby doctor, and then we'll move west to east. We'll start in Hawaii. We'll move. Wait, no. We're going to jump from Hawaii to New York. New York back to the Midwest. And so that's how we'll do it. But, I just heard that he lost it. I haven't seen his reaction. Did he cry? Did he throw a fit? I hope he threw a fit. Holly, please feel better, honestly. Thank you so much. I hope he cried and threw a fit because that guy committed attempted murder, and by the grace of God or whoever it is that they believe in or that you believe in or that anybody believes in, this lady survived. I don't know how. He smashed her head with a rock and people saw it. And then he tried to say, well, she tried to kill me. Okay. So you smashed her head with a rock? I hope he cried. And I hope he gets the maximum sentence under the law. Such a little. Some people just feel entitled. And I had seen that they were on this, like they were on what was it, Jury Watch or whatever it was called. Verdict Watch, excuse me. It was on Verdict Watch, and I was watching, just kind of paying attention, and it just seemed like it felt like it was taking too long. And he had a syringe of propofol in his yeah, and I saw, we can go to the Bahamas. We can go to the Bahamas too. Yeah, we'll go. That's not really our coast, but I saw that happen too, but hold on one second. Well, we were talking about Nanos for a second. No, Nanos, I don't know. I do not believe Nanos has smashed anybody's head in with a rock, but I could, he has been in trouble for discharge. What was it? Unlawful use of a firearm? That's a crazy, crazy charge for a cop to get, just pistol whipping people. That's insane, It's an insane thing to do. Okay, let's see. Buckle up, Buttercup. Oh, also, Enton may want to know this, but California reports surge in rattlesnake bites. Ooh. He probably did pistol whip somebody. Somebody should pistol whip him, to be honest. Actually, no, nobody do that. That's a bad thing to do. Okay, where is... Where's the verdict here? Here it is. Oh, yes. My favorite. Who got found? He got found guilty of manslaughter. Of course he did. Attempted manslaughter. What? Hey, what? That's right. What? Once again, nothing surprises me. That is huge. That is huge. What's up, Sam? Donna, did I see Donna in here too? What's up, Donna? How are you? Good to see you. All right. Prosecutors indicated they'll seek maximum. Yeah. But the problem is he'll get 20. So, Teresa, what happens is he'll get the 20. If they give him the max, he'll do 10, maybe 9 for good behavior, because you know this guy is going to behave because he is not built for prison. So this guy, this is an anesthesiologist in Hawaii who was put on trial for trying to kill his wife. Went on a hike, hit her in the head with a rock multiple times, then said, "Oh, I was just trying to save myself." Okay.
Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. Can I have your appearances, please?
Here
Good
we
afternoon, Your
go.
Honor. Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Joel Garner for the state. Also present, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Franklin Don Bucaro Jr.
Why is a phone ringing?
Afternoon, Mr. Garner. Afternoon, Mr. McCarthy.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thomas Otake and Matt Dirks on behalf of Dr. Gerhard Koenig, who is present.
Afternoon, Mr. Otake. Afternoon, Mr. Dirks. Afternoon, Dr. Koenig.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, all of you can be seated. Also, I wanted to raise a few things on the record. The court received communication number 1 this morning from the jury at...
Here's sort of the problem with these is that there was no doubt in my mind, or most of the people watching this, or the witnesses that witnessed and saved this lady's life, that he was guilty. None of that was really disputable. The problem is sometimes you get jurors that fall for bullcrap, and it happens a lot. And it makes you nervous.
1028. I did not send it out to you, and when I read it out loud to you, you can understand why. The jury wrote asking 6 questions. 1, may we please...
He called his son and said that he was gonna do it, or that he did it, and that he was gonna jump off a cliff, which he didn't. He didn't jump off the cliff. Shocker there.
Have blue painter tape. 2, may we please have large Post-its. 3, may we please have other color dry erase pens. 4, may we have
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Stating we've reached a verdict. And before the jury goes back into the courtroom, counsel, is there anything else you want to take? Of the jury, please stand and state their name.
Let me see. The doctor's name. Dr. Garrett Koenig. Dr. Garrett Koenig. Attempted manslaughter. Such a bullshit charge. I'm sorry, but if you take a rock and you hit somebody in the head with it multiple times, I'm assuming, you have every intention to kill. Yes, his wife did testify.
Jury number 9, Makoto Atkins.
Ms. Atkins, good afternoon.
Please hit that like button on your way in.
Has the jury reached a verdict in this case?
Yes, Judge, we have.
And did you sign and date the verdict form?
Yes, Judge.
Can you leave it in the manila folder? Ms. McCallum will come and collect it from you. Ms. Atkins, you can have a seat. Thank you. Dr. Koenig, can you stand as the clerk of the court reads the verdict of the jury?
Case number 1 CPC-25-00000373, State of Hawaii versus Gerhard Koenig. We, the jury in this case, finds the defendant guilty of attempted manslaughter based upon extreme mental or emotional disturbance, dated 4/8/26 by the foreperson.
Gentlemen, you can be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to call you by chair number, not by name, but by chair number, and I'm going to ask that you answer out loud either yes or no. If you agree with the verdict that was read out loud here in court, you would answer yes. If you disagree with the verdict that was read out loud in court, you would answer no. Starting with chair number 1.
Yes.
Chair 2.
Yes.
Chair 3.
Yes.
Chair number 4.
Yes.
Chair number 5.
Yes.
Chair number 6.
Yes.
Chair 7.
Yes.
Chair 8.
Yes.
Chair number 9.
Yes.
Chair 10.
Yes.
Chair number 11.
Yes.
Chair number 12.
Hold on.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on.
Starting with chair number, disagree with the verdict that was read out loud in court, you would answer no. Starting with chair number 1.
Yes.
Chair 2.
Yes.
Chair 3.
Yes.
Chair number 4.
Yes.
Chair number 5.
Yes.
Chair number 6.
Yes.
Chair 7.
Yes.
Chair 8.
Yes.
Chair number 9.
Yes.
Chair 10.
Yes.
Chair number 11.
Yes.
Chair number 12.
Yes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
12 dings.
Dr. Koenig, the verdict.
Off to the booty
the
house with you, brother. Off to the booty house with you. Nobody fell for it. You tried to kill your wife. You're a pile of shit. Excuse my language.
Jury is indeed unanimous and consistent with.
And because you're such a weak person that could probably barely lift the rock, thank God, you weren't able to succeed. Matter of fact, too, there was an ER nurse. By the grace of God or whoever it is that you pray to, there was an ER nurse on the trail that witnessed it, that testified. No, excuse me, not an ER nurse, a critical, what was it? What do they call that section? She's a, I don't know, like the critical people that are in critical care or whatever they call it. I don't know. ICU, excuse me.
The verdict.
She's an ICU nurse.
The court judges you guilty of attempted manslaughter in this case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am going to send you back into the jury deliberation room one more time. There's a little bit more paperwork that you'll need to complete with Ms. McCown.
Thank you, my happy place. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I will make myself available. I'll come into the jury room in about 5 minutes in case anybody has any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. You don't have to wait though. If you want to get an early head start on your commute home, you're free to do so. When you leave, in the hallways of the courthouse, the attorneys might be outside. They're always interested in hearing feedback from the jury. In addition, there's media that has covered this case. There will be members of the media out in the hallway as well. Some of them may invite you to talk about your jury experience. You're free to talk to.
You really think that, it's like the lawyer sitting there, trying to comfort him. And the whole time he's thinking the reason he's going to jail is because of his lawyer. And it's not. The reason he's going to jail, prison, check that, is because he tried to kill his wife. That's why. Not because his lawyer was ineffective, but how could any lawyer be effective when there are witnesses to a crime? Not only witnesses to a crime, then there's a surviving victim on top of all of that. Idiot.
Anybody that you want to, now that your jury service is just about at an end. However, if you don't want to talk with anybody, you don't have to. And that includes me. So you don't have to wait for me to come into the jury room. If you don't want to talk to anybody, including me,
I don't know who that is.
you're free to leave. But before you do go, though, if I do not have a chance to speak with you, on behalf of the parties,
Well, he was already blaming her. He was already saying that she tried. Yes, she testified. He was trying to hurt me. She tried to push me. You know what? I hope that some of that's true because that's what he deserves.
and the rest of the judiciary, thank you very much for your time and
I would
your
have tried to push him too. His hair sucks. I don't care.
service. We started this case, it feels like a month ago. It's been a long, long haul for all of you. It has not been easy. We never thought it was going to be.
The fact that he thought that he was going to be able to somehow maneuver out of this was just that really sick.
Easy when we started this case. We already talked about how hard I thought it was going to be. And through it all, you had to endure that weather, that traffic, horrible parking conditions. Thank you very much for your flexibility, your perseverance. I hope you and your family remain safe during this weekend. Again, if I don't get to talk with you, thank you very much. You have our utmost gratitude. And like I said at the beginning of this case, and this is still true today, it has been my great honor to serve with you on this case. Thank you very much. So for the last time, into the jury deliberation room. All rise.
Anyway, all right, so this is his wife right here.
Can you describe for us what you and the defendant were doing as you came?
You guys want to watch? We can watch this just a little bit, but yeah, this is the lady that survived.
As you started to head back down the trail?
Sure, we were just walking and talking, and I was like, oh, I'm not as much fun as I used to be since having kids, I guess, but yeah, I'm just not enjoying this today. And we were walking down, and there's this big tree, and I was like, oh, I'll climb the tree, you can take my picture up there. And so we did that.
Okay. Who took the picture of who in the tree?
Yeah, I climbed the tree, I gave Gerhardt my phone and my purse to hold, and I climbed the tree, and he took the picture on my phone.
So after you take the picture in this tree, where did you go?
And I just climbed back down, back to Gerhardt in the trail.
Okay. Once you climbed down from the tree, who had your phone and your purse?
Gerhardt still had my phone and purse.
Okay. What was in your purse?
Well, my phone had with it my ID and credit card, and then
I don't, and I don't know the dynamic or the issues that they were having in their marriage. I'm sure there were some, what marriage doesn't have some issues at some point, and big deal cares, but for him to go there with it is wild.
the purse had, sunglasses and chapstick, something like that.
I hate guys like this for obvious reasons.
Okay. Now you mentioned one picture of you in a tree. Did you take any other pictures when you're coming down the trail?
We did. At that point, Gerhardt said, let's take a selfie. There's like a cliff's edge there, and he's like, let's take a selfie with this view in the background. And so we went and took a picture there as well.
Did you take any pictures of the defendant?
On the hike up, we were both taking pictures. We were taking Snapchats and pictures. We have a family Snapchat group, and we were sending pictures in there.
I see. Okay. All right. And you said Snapchat. What is Snapchat?
Snapchat is an app that's photo-based that you send. I don't know how to describe it better than that. It's ephemeral.
And you said there was ephemeral?
It doesn't last very long. It's not like permanent storage. So you would send maybe less. You would send more pictures than you might otherwise.
Okay. And let's see. Did you have access to any of your photos from Snapchat after this?
Some, not all.
I'm going to approach with State's Exhibit 131, which has previously been shown to the defense counsel and shown again. Yeah. May I approach?
Yes.
Daryl, I've handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 131. Do you recognize what I've handed you?
Yes.
What is this?
This is a picture of Gerhardt standing by the cliff's edge that I took on Snapchat and sent in that family Snapchat message.
Okay, could you clarify this for us? Is this going up the trail or coming down?
This was taken on the way up when we were hiking up before we had turned around.
Okay. Does this photo fairly and accurately depict the defendant as you photographed him on March 24, 2025?
Yes, it does.
At this point, the state moves exhibit states 131 into evidence.
That's what we're talking.
No objection.
What has been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 131 is received into evidence.
Okay, I'm going to publish now states exhibit 131. Okay. Ariel, what, if you can look at the photo and describe maybe what's on the screen as well, what is the text on the photo?
It says, "Don't look down."
Okay. And who was, is your identification on the photo anywhere?
Yes, up in the upper left-hand corner. It says Ari Koenig.
Okay. And what is Ari Koenig?
That's my name, Ari, short for Ariel.
Is that your Snapchat ID as well?
I'm sure it is.
All right. I'm going to take down States Exhibit 131, and I'm going to retrieve the exhibit from you. And then hand it over. Ariel, why did you say don't look down there?
It's a very steep cliff behind him.
Okay, I want to fast forward in time a little bit to the photos you mentioned later.
Sure.
So did you take any other photos on the way down?
Yes, right at that cliff. When I had come out of the tree and when we had walked to that cliff area, Gerhard said, "Let's take a selfie with this as the backdrop." So we would be standing with our backs to the cliff, taking a photo.
Before you took that selfie, or before the defendant asked to take that selfie, did you notice anything about the defendant's attention?
Yes, he was very aware of where I was, where my feet were, where he was, and where the trail was. I felt like he was often looking at my feet and just very spatially aware of where I was on the trail.
Yeah, so weird. So he's looking at her feet. She notices that he's like keeping an eye on some weird stuff.
Did you ever take that selfie?
We did. It wasn't quite as close to the edge as he wanted. I was standing from that photo. You can see there's a pine tree, and I was holding onto a branch of that because I was just uneasy that close to the edge. And we did take a selfie, but I held onto that tree.
Okay. Do you still have access to that selfie?
I don't.
What happened after you took the selfie while you were holding onto the tree?
I just asked him to move down the trail a little bit so that I could get past without having to go near the cliff.
And then how did the defendant react to that?
He was a little like, okay, and then he moved a few paces away.
Okay. So after the defendant moved down the trail a few paces away, what did you do?
Then I walked to him. So he was then facing me and the cliff, and I walked up to him. And again, everything was normal. I walked up and just kind of like brushed my hands against his shoulders, like kind of like a little hug.
Okay. As you,
Thank you, Donna.
Had your hands against his shoulders, where was the defendant facing?
He was facing the cliff, facing me. My back was to the cliff, and he's facing me at the cliff.
And how far behind you was the cliff?
Feet, 10 or less.
Excuse me, I couldn't hear that.
10 or less feet.
All right, so, okay, after this happens, after you get to where the defendant is on the trail, what happened next?
When I walk up to him, then he grabbed me really forcefully by my upper arms, and he said, "I'm so sick of this. Get back over there." And he starts pushing me back towards the cliff.
Wow.
While the defendant was grabbing you and pushing you, what did you do?
I was surprised. It felt almost like he was kidding at first, and I was like, "What are you doing?" But he had grabbed me really hard and was moving me. So we kind of wrestled a little bit, and I threw myself onto the ground because there's a lot of trees and shrubs there so that I could hold on.
As you threw yourself to the ground, How did the defendant respond?
Well, he got on top of me and he was kind of trying to pull me, and we're wrestling, and he ended up straddling me. So he had his legs on either side, kind of across my waist.
On March 24, 2025, how tall were you?
About 5'6".
And how much did you weigh on that date?
About 145 pounds.
Okay. And on that date, how tall was the defendant?
About 5'10".
And how much did he weigh?
Maybe 165 pounds.
Okay. And then you said
What a wimp.
straddling. Can you describe what that looked like for us?
Sure. I'm laying on my back, and he's on top of me with kind of like one leg on either side across my
Like
waist,
how much Urkel weighs.
facing me.
Poor lady.
Once the defendant was on top of you, what did he do next?
So he was first trying to pull me, try to get me closer to the cliff. And again, I could kind of hold on to the roots and stuff that were around us. And then he had a backpack that he was hiking with. And he, like I said, he's on top of me. And he had a syringe in his hand. And he says, "Hold still." And I see the syringe, and I just kind of like bat it away from us both.
Okay. When you first saw that syringe in his hand, did you actually see where it came from?
I didn't see where it came from, though.
Thank you, Geraldine. Appreciate that very much. Thank you.
All right. And you said you were able to bat it. Do you know where it went?
It just fell on the ground sort of near us. It would have been to my left, because I could still kind of see it in my periphery. So I was trying to make sure it wasn't going to get grabbed again.
And then could you describe what you remember about the syringe, what it looked like?
Sure. It was a clear syringe with a blue piece, maybe blue plunger, I guess is what that's called.
Once you were able to bat the syringe away onto the ground, what did the defendant do next?
Okay, so she slaps it out of his hand, and then so what was in there was going to knock her out? Is that what it was going to incapacitate her?
So he had taken his backpack off, and it was on the ground to his left, so kind of to the right side of my body here. And he was digging in that with his left hand, and then kind of holding me down with his right hand. And I'm screaming, and I'm saying, "What are you doing? Get off me!" And he's saying like, "You're done. I'm so sick of you. I'm so done with you." And I'm trying to kind of protect myself and get out of there. But also he's gripping his hand closed really hard. And there's a vial in his hand. So I was trying to pry his hand open so I could grab that vial out.
Okay. Which hand did you see the vial in?
The vial was in his right hand.
Okay. And did you actually get to see the entire vial?
No.
Okay. What part of it did you see?
I could see pieces of it because I'm trying to like pry his fingers off of it so that I can grab it and throw it.
Were you able to open his hand that was holding the vial?
Not enough to get the vial away.
All right. You mentioned the defendant was saying some things. Can you tell us what you remember he said as he was on top of you?
Yeah.
This is premeditated murder, and he was found guilty of attempted manslaughter. Who comes up with these charges? Like, who thinks of this stuff? Why would anybody charge this guy with attempted manslaughter? He's trying to knock her out with a syringe, and then that doesn't work. So then he smashes her head with a rock.
I'm screaming, and he's telling me, "Shut up! Nobody's going to hear you out here. Nobody's coming to save you."
But there was.
And I'm saying, like, "You can't do this. Everyone knows we're on a hike. They'll know this wasn't an accident, and our kids will be orphans. You'll go to jail, and I'll be dead. Like, you have to stop." And again, he's saying, like,
Yeah, it doesn't
You're
make any
done. We're
sense.
done with you. We don't need you anymore. You're done. You're done.
Did telling the defendant any of these things that you told him, did that get him to stop?
No, not really. And I had said, like, your mom just sent me a really beautiful text for my birthday. Like, your family will be upset if I die. He can't face our kids after this, you know. And he did seem at that point to, like, calm down a little bit. Like, it seemed like he took a deep breath and calmed down. And so I had this moment where I was like, okay, this is the break. Like, I can get out. And then he just starts hitting me with a rock.
Okay. I'm going to backtrack for just a moment, Ariel. As the defendant was on top of you, as the defendant was saying things, and as you were saying things back, were you trying to defend yourself physically at all?
Yes, and I'm screaming and trying to defend myself physically. So I think I bit his forearm at one point, trying to, that would have been his right forearm. And then I was also squeezing his testicles with so I had my right hand trying to squeeze his testicles to get him to get off of me.
Nice. That's a good move.
Okay. And was that, when you were doing those things, was that before or after he calmed down, as you just said?
That was before he calmed down.
Okay. So what happened, you said, after the defendant calmed down?
Oh, well, it felt like he calmed down because it looked like he took a deep breath. And again, I was screaming, and so he's covering my mouth and stuff. And then we had this moment of, like, it seems like he takes a deep breath. And then he just starts hitting my face and my head with a rock.
Did you see where the defendant got the rock from?
I didn't see where he got it from, but, like, spatially, he was, like, reaching up around this area of my head. So my impression was that there was a rock on the ground near my head that he was able to grab.
Were you just holding your hand around the left side of your head?
Yes, sorry.
When the defendant was hitting you with the rock, did you say anything?
I just started screaming because in my mind, he was trying to knock me unconscious to get to be able to drag me over the edge. So I just was screaming then as much as I could.
Did the defendant respond to what you were screaming?
No.
Did anybody other than the defendant respond to what you were screaming?
Yes. So I'm screaming, and I do think I was saying something like, please help. He's trying to kill me. You know, I'm hoping somebody can kind of hear that.
So it sounds like under the law, the max that he can get for attempted manslaughter, which is, by the way, the dumbest charge I've ever heard in my life. It's attempted murder. What he tried to do is he tried to kill her. But once again, I don't think that there's such a thing as attempted murder, because just because you're not able to do it, just because you're not able to kill somebody because you can't for some reason, or somebody gets lucky and misses a vital, organ, or doesn't, hit the temple, you should just be charged with murder. I mean, it's just what it is. Just because somebody doesn't die, or because some skilled surgeon saves you, that happens too. Sometimes there's a skilled surgeon out there that saves your life, and not only does it save your life, it also saves the terrible human who tried to kill you from going to prison for the rest of their life. It's just it's an unacceptable charge. They should be, I don't know. I don't get it.
And I, at some point, hear a woman's voice say, we're here, we're calling 911. We're here, we're calling 911.
Okay. So after you hear that woman's voice, what happens?
If you pull out a gun and you point it at somebody and you pull the trigger and you shoot them through the stomach or the chest or the back or wherever you hit them, your intention is to kill them. I mean, I don't care what anybody says.
He just kind of like,
Although in Goodfellas, when Nicky shot Spider in the foot because he didn't bring him a drink and told him to go F himself, that may be more of a manslaughter charge, although he did eventually pull a gun out and shoot him.
Gerhardt just kind of froze and knelt back away from me, and I just crawled away really slowly. And again, he seemed just like frozen. And then I was yelling to the voices I heard, "Are you still there? Are you still there? Don't leave me." And I couldn't hear anybody calling anything back, so I just kept crab walking away, like I'm on my butt, kind of like scooting. And I just kept going and got to like a lower part of the trail. And
What happened?
the women were down there, and one of them was on the phone with emergency personnel.
As you crab walked away, did the defendant follow you?
No.
So as you crab walked away, did you see what the defendant did?
He just, like I said, he seemed frozen. He just kind of stood up and was staring. And then I didn't see where he went after that. He didn't follow me when I went down to those women.
Yeah, stupid.
What happened when you got to the two?
But was the rock found? Was the rock found? Okay, the syringe wasn't found. Okay, fine. You know, it's a mountainous terrain. Be pretty hard to find. Probably went down the hill, probably chucked it, or he probably did something with it, or whatever. I'm sure he took it with him. But was the rock found? Oh, the rock was found. Okay, well then, manslaughter it is. What a stupid, I mean, seriously, what a stupid ass thing to do. Yeah, I was being facetious. He smashed her head. I know the rock was found because he smashed her head with it. Who cares if the rock was found? How else is he going to smash her head?
When I got to them, we were just trying to figure out how to get out of there as quickly as we could. And so they tried to stand me up to see if we could walk down with me kind of draped over them to get through, but I couldn't stand. Excuse me. That was just like an unstable. So one of them went behind me and was kind of sweeping to make sure he wasn't coming after us, visually scanning to make sure he wasn't coming after us. And then the other one was in front leading us. And one of the women had like a large metal water bottle, and she had that in her hand, and she was like, "This is the only weapon I have." But and then I crab walked, or kind of scooted down the whole trail with them on kind of either part to try to keep us safe.
After this happened, where was your phone?
My phone and my bag were still with Gerhardt.
Still with the defendant?
Yes.
I wonder what kind of injuries she ended
So
up
does that
with.
include your purse that you mentioned?
Yes.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, what a complete pile of crap. Okay. Of course, nothing was found except the rock. Why would anything else be found? He took it. What else was he going to do? He took it. He got rid of it. He took off. He ran. Like a little biznatch that he was. Right. So he gets rewarded because he was able to discard some of the stuff. Good. It's great. It's awesome. What a loser. Hold on. Where is Did anybody see Rex Heuermann's wife's press conference after he pled guilty? She's like, what did she say? We want privacy. I don't know, man. I got issues with her. I don't know what those issues are, but there is.
How old are you? 62. You read and write English? Yes.
A mystery that gripped a nation, and now for the first time the accused killer speaks, and the truth is more disturbing than imagined.
Are you pleading guilty voluntarily of your own free will? Yes.
A deal, a promise, and now the Gilgo Beach killer's wife has something to say. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. You know, before we get into this incredibly horrific case about the Gilgo Beach serial killings, I want to tell you about an app that I've been using that I really like. It's called Upside. And Upside will get you cash back on things you buy every day, like gas, groceries, and takeout. Here's what you need to do. You download Upside for free. You claim an offer.
We don't care. Sorry, Anjanette.
There was a mystery on Long Island. A number of women vanished and they were later found murdered. But now that...
I'm telling you, he looks exactly like Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. The resemblance is uncanny. How do you manage to get a haircut like that in jail?
mystery has been solved, and the man responsible for the murders of the women, Rex Heuermann, he's admitted to committing the crimes after years of denials.
And dude, that belly is massive. That belly is huge.
Rex Heuermann.
How do you stay that? That's what exactly. How do you stay that fat in jail?
We can now say is the Long Island serial killer. This case, of course, dates back to the early 1990s. It's absolutely horrific.
If it's a wig, then he should get his money back.
And before I get into Rex Heuermann's guilty plea, let's talk about the victims and a little background on how we got to this day. All of the women had similarities. They were petite, attractive, and some of them had worked as sex workers. Detectives on Long Island believed their murders were the work of one person, dubbed the Long Island serial killer. All of these women had families who loved them, but all 8 had crossed paths with a monster who'd used them and discarded them like trash, some of them along Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. 4 of the women became known as the Gilgo Four. Maureen Brainerd Barnes disappeared in 2007. Melissa Bartholomew vanished in 2009. Megan Waterman and Amber Costello were killed the next year in 2010. All of the women's remains were discovered in December 2010 along Gilgo Beach. They were wrapped in burlap. A court document described how Maureen Brainerd Barnes' lower body was bound with a belt. The buckle had the initials WH, which investigators believed could have been the initials of Rex Heuermann's father, William Heuermann. In April 2011, partial remains that were later identified as Valerie Max were also found along...
Well, look, you're not the only one that feels that way. I know a lot of people that feel that way. And, you know, the fact of the matter is she was never charged with anything. And neither was the wife. And, but...
Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. Years earlier, in November of 2000, hunters had found some of Mac's remains in black trash bags, her torso, legs, and arms bound with rope. For years, she was only known as Jane Doe No. 6 until DNA testing revealed her name. It would take nearly 13 years, amid missteps in the investigation, but the monster targeting the women would be identified through DNA and cell phone technology as Rex Heuermann. Heuermann was an architect who lived in Massapequa Park on Long Island, but commuted to Manhattan.
I mean, he looks like Shrek. He really does. Like, he is a big, ghoulish looking bastard. I mean, look at that. Like, he's got that Jim Belushi chin and those eyes are just cold.
Each day for work. He lived in a small home that had once been owned by his parents. Prosecutors said they used DNA collected from pizza crust that he'd tossed in the trash to link him to hairs collected from some of the victims. Other hairs came back to his daughter and wife. Despite that, Heuermann said that he was innocent. After Heuermann was charged in the murders of the Gilgo Four, the investigation didn't end. The work of the grand jury...
That gut reminds me of the gut from Trailer Park Boys. Remember Randy, the cheeseburger eater? Like, that thing is huge. Look at that thing. Oh, my God.
Continued. The remains of other women had been found not just along Gilgo Beach, but in other locations in Manorville. And in June of 2024, the grand jury indicted Rex Heuermann for the 2003 murder of Jessica Taylor and the 1993 murder of Sandra Costilla. Taylor's skull, hands, and forearm were found along Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach, in the same area where the Gilgo Four had been found about a mile down the road. Her remaining body parts had been found years earlier in 2003, and parts of her body,
I hate him. I hate him,
had been mutilated in Manorville. A single hair had been found in a drape in which she had been wrapped. In November 1993, two hunters found Sandra Costilla's body in North Sea. The bail application for Heuermann stated that Costilla was...
So this guy pled guilty to killing all these women today. And he says these are the only women that he's ever killed. Right.
laying on her back with her arms stretched out over her head, and she had multiple stab wounds on her face, breast, thighs, and genital area. In June of 2024, DA Ray Tierney revealed DNA results that he said showed Rex Heuermann murdered the women. The table showed results on testing of hairs found on 5 of the women. Rex Heuermann's hair was found on Sandra Costilla, Megan Waterman, and Jessica Taylor. Hairs that belonged to Heuermann's wife and daughter were found on Amber Costello.
Well, what he did was he sweetened the deal. He was trying to sweeten the deal to keep his family from having to testify. That's it. That's all it was. And then he said, "Well, I'll let the behavioral analysis unit study my bad brain." Oh, awesome.
Megan Waterman and Maureen.
Thank you for that.
Brainerd Barnes, and a hair that belonged to a former girlfriend of Heuermann's was found on Sandra Costilla. Heuermann was later charged with the murder of Valerie Mack, who prosecutors said they linked Heuermann to again through DNA testing of hairs found on her body. And I want to be clear, just in case you were wondering, the DA...
Hey, Rex, what made you want to kill women? I don't know. I had an overwhelming feeling too. Oh, awesome. He had an overwhelming feeling. Did it have anything to do with you being an architect? Yeah, it might have. Okay. Thanks, Rex.
has said...
You're welcome. Can I have some pizza?
Inexplicably, he does not believe that Heuermann's wife, daughter, or his former girlfriend were involved in these murders of the women at all. Ray Tierney has said Heuermann's family was out of town when these homicides were committed at the family's home. In the middle of this investigation, DNA testing identified another victim, Karen Vergata, disappeared on Valentine's Day in 1996. She was just 34 years old. For years, she was known only as Fire Island Jane Doe. Her legs were found there in April of 1996, and in 2011, her skull was found on Tobay Beach in Nassau County. Rex Heuermann wasn't charged with the murder of Karen Vergata, but he was certainly a suspect after his arrest. Along with the DNA evidence that D.A. Tierney said linked Heuermann to the murders, he said there was other evidence, a witness description, digital evidence, and
Yeah, that wasn't his only slice of pizza. That was his last slice of pizza. That dude was walking around with an extra large pie, eating the shit out of it.
collection of magazines and news stories in Heuermann's home about the murders. Prosecutors wrote in a bail document in 2024 that violent pornography was recovered from Heuermann's electronic devices and that it depicted bondage, torture, and death. And they said they recovered a once-deleted planning document that had been on Heuermann's computer from 2002 through 2004. One document has categories labeled problems, supplies, DS, and TRG. Investigators believe DS means dump sites and TRG means target. Under problems, a number of items are listed, including DNA, tire marks, bloodstains, fingerprints, witness, trace sources of supplies, shoe prints, police stop, and the list goes on. The supply list also sounds like things that could be used to torture a person or clean up, or keep clean. Booties, lye/acid, police scanner, rope/cord, saw cutting.
We're actually going to be having a show about this. Hopefully Friday. We're going to talk about Rex with Dr. Gary and a special guest.
Medical gloves, drain cleaner, photo film, and under DS-1 Mill Road. Dumpster site, next time recon dumpster locations. Under TRG, T1 names Megan with a question mark. Does that mean Megan Waterman? We don't know. She was killed years after this document was believed to have been created. The document also states small is good. The Gilgo Four were all small in stature. Another document discussed pre-prep, prep, and post-event. The pre-prep included a vehicle inspection, reconnaissance, and looking up weather reports. And the prep listed a holding area, build table, crossbar, and hard point. The bail document says a hard point in bondage is a fixed attachment point in the ceiling.
What? Mr. Mann says, I know I'm going to get crap over this, but I hate pizza. All pizza? All right. We got bigger fish to fry, Mr. Mann.
That supports the weight of a person being suspended off the ground. Rex Heuermann fought to have the DNA evidence in the case suppressed as he maintained his innocence, but he lost that battle. The DNA evidence was coming in at his trial, which had been scheduled to begin in September of this year.
Coming out, Judge.
Dude, he's like 6'4", like 300 and what? He's got to be 360, 370. I mean, he's on the back end of 300 for sure.
But today, an about face, as Heuermann changed his plea.
On the record with number 8, Rex Heuermann.
It's like a Three Stooges haircut.
Part of the appearance.
We're going to do the waivers first, okay? For the defendant, Michael Brown.
It is the understanding of the District Attorney's Office that the defendant will plead guilty to 7 counts in the indictment, specifically counts 1 through 3 and counts 7 through 10. Counts 4 through 6 will be dismissed in satisfaction at the time of the defendant's sentencing. In addition to allocuting to and admitting his factual guilt to all elements of counts 1 through 3 and 7 through 10 of the indictment, the defendant further agrees that although he has not been charged with this crime, he will admit as part of his plea that he intentionally caused the death of Karen Brigada and transported and left her remains in Suffolk County in 1996. The District Attorney's Office agrees that in exchange for the defendant pleading guilty to counts 1 through 3 and counts 7 through 10 of the indictment and admitting to the uncharged murder of Karen Brigada, the District Attorney's Office recommends the following sentence. Counts 1 through 3, murder in the first degree, the maximum sentence of life imprisonment without parole to run consecutive to each other. Counts 7 through 10, the maximum sentence of 25 years for life imprisonment to run
There is no way that he's 240 to 280. No, there's no way.
consecutive to one another. And
He's
with
not in the He's not in the 200s. He's in the 300s on the higher end of 300. That gut is full of, I don't know, but that thing looks like it is a rock.
sentences on counts 1 through 3. To summarize the foregoing sentence, the defendant agrees to serve 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole regarding counts 1 through 3, followed by 4 consecutive sentences of 25 years imprisonment to life to run consecutive to one another. Should the defendant allocute to the murder of Karen Vergata, the defendant's guilty plea and this plea agreement will satisfy and cover the uncharged homicide of Karen Vergata. In exchange for all of the above pleas, there will be no further prosecutions pertaining to the murders of the aforementioned 8 victims: Karen Vergata, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor, Maureen Brainerd Barnes,
Randy thinks he's over 400. I mean, it's possible. He's massive.
Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The defendant will acknowledge both orally and in writing that he has received voluminous and sufficient discovery to make an informed decision regarding his plea here today. The defendant will further waive any objections to the district attorney's compliance with Article 245 of the Criminal Procedure Law. The defendant has also agreed to withdraw all motions currently pending before this court. As set forth in the written waiver of right to appeal, the defendant agrees to waive his right to appeal, which includes the court's prior hearing determination, as well as any claim that the sentence imposed by this court is excessive. The defendant further acknowledges that he has been fully apprised by his attorneys of the rights and privileges that he is waiving, and that his waiver is being agreed to knowingly and voluntarily and made for the purpose of receiving the benefit.
Boy, you fat. He is fat, man. It's bad. I don't understand. I really don't understand how somebody gets that fat in jail.
Of not being.
Which jail will he be housed in? I don't know. Probably whatever friggin' stadium they can fit his big balloon ass in.
Charged with the murder of Karen Vergata or any other charges related to the deaths of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor, and Sandra Castilla.
Then the time came for
I mean, that bottom button. You see right there? You see the little... See the bottom button? It's just like it's praying. Like, look at this thing. Look. See that? Look at that thing. And he's got the screaming line right there.
Heuermann, the now admitted Gilgo Beach serial killer, to answer the judge's questions.
He ain't lose any weight.
Mr. Brown? Judge, can he be uncuffed for a moment just to sign certain documents?
Sarge? Yes,
Thank
Judge.
you. All right, Rex, we're going to sign this. I'm going to sign right here, please.
Mr. Heuermann, before I swear you in, the allocution is taken. I have some questions to ask of you. They're obvious and simple questions, but I have to ask them, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old are you?
62.
Do you read and write English?
Yes.
Have you discussed this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
Do you like pasta primavera, chicken cutlets, bread, and any other kind of snack you can get your hands on? Yes, Your Honor.
You had enough time to discuss this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
After discussions with your lawyer, you feel it's in your best interest to plead guilty rather than go to trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the manner in which your attorney's represented you in this case?
Are you satisfied with your haircut? Yes, Your Honor. Well, that's it. Give him the electric chair.
Yes, I am.
I must say that the attorneys on both sides of this case have been excellent, unbelievable lawyers. Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a charge, that is the same as if you had gone to trial and been found guilty of that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving a number of very important rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now these rights include your right to a trial by jury, by the court, your right to have the prosecution produce evidence and witnesses to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, your right to cross-examine those witnesses, and your right to testify on your own behalf or to remain silent, your right to call witnesses or submit evidence on your behalf. Do you understand those rights as I've just explained them?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up those rights?
Yes, I do.
This next part is incredibly interesting as Michael Brown discusses a condition of this plea.
Now, other than the promise that was placed on the record by the people, has anyone, myself, your lawyer, the prosecutor, or anyone else made any promises to you in return for your plea of guilty?
The only thing I want to interject, Judge, Mr. Tierney has indicated in exchange for the pleas that we're going to enter into this morning, there'll be no further prosecutions on the 8 victims that he's referenced. He is also, my client is also obligated to completely, truthfully, and fairly cooperate with the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Behavioral Analysis Unit as part of what we've just discussed.
I mean, I get, okay, cool, great, awesome. So that was part of the plea deal. Whatever, dude.
Any other promises made to you?
Other than what I've just said.
No.
Are you pleading guilty voluntarily and of your own free will?
Yes.
All right, we're going to swear in the defendant now.
The remaining portion of the hearing, where Rex Heuermann allocated and answered specific questions about the crimes, was not allowed to be recorded. So Rex Heuermann, as part of his guilty plea, has promised that he will cooperate with the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. That unit has studied serial killers for decades to find out how they become the murderers that they are, in the hope of learning more about them to possibly prevent future crimes and catch serial killers more quickly in the future. After the hearing, Rex Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup, spoke briefly. She had supported her husband after his arrest.
My thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families. Their loss is immeasurable, and the focus should be on them at this time and moment. I ask that you give some privacy to my family as they navigate through this very difficult time.
And now I'm a millionaire because my husband's a serial killer. And Peacock are scumbags for doing that.
Rex Heuermann's lawyer explained why his client decided to plead guilty.
I can't give you our conversations that are confidential, but I will say to you that there came a point in this defense where Rex said, I want to plead guilty. I'll say this.
Oh, no shit.
Certainly, several of his concerns, he had many, about why he didn't want to go to trial and plead guilty. He certainly wanted to save the families of the victims the ordeal of going to trial, and coupled with saving his family that ordeal. So I know that there was conversations during the course of this defense between his family members and himself in regards to that, yeah.
So now I want to turn to somebody who's covered the Gilgo Beach serial killer case for 16 years. She's covered it inside and out. She's law and crimes investigative reporter, Kristen Thorne. Kristen, I know you're right outside the courthouse there in Suffolk County. I want to first get your reaction to Rex Heuermann changing his guilty plea.
Yeah, she got paid. She got, I think it was $1 million, something like that.
After,
it's easier to profit off of it now that she's divorced, so she doesn't have to. Can you imagine being bound to that fat pile of crap in his food bill in prison? Like he's gonna have to sell his home and, I don't know, mortgage the land to even be able to keep his gut the size that it is.
He said for so long, I didn't do this.
And Jeanette, I think it's not entirely surprising. The trial was going to come up in September. And so, you know, the walls were closing in on Rex Heuermann. His attorney had been pushing to get the DNA thrown out. There were hairs that were found on various of these victims that were essentially linked to Rex Heuermann, and his defense attorney, try as he may, was unable to get that thrown out. And I think that was sort of, you know, one of the nails in the coffin, that they just knew, Rex Heuermann knew there was no way around this. But really, Anjanette, a surprise today, because we knew about the 7 murders that he had been charged with. And then today, in this plea deal, he pled guilty to killing another woman, an 8th woman. Now, he's not being charged in that. That's where it gets a little nuanced with the law. But he did admit that he killed Karen Vergata. She was someone that had already been, we thought, was part of this pattern. And now today, Rex Heuermann confirmed that he strangled. The district attorney, Ray Tierney, went down each individual woman's name and said, "How did you kill her?" And every time he said strangulation. And then he admitted that he dumped the bodies in various places and dismembered some of the bodies.
And it did seem, Kristen, that over the years, he changed his MO. He was dismembering some of those victims, the victims that were.
Well, he's saying that these are the only victims. These 8 poor souls. I mean, I don't see how that's possible. But then again, I don't understand, like, why lie? You know, at this point, like, what does it matter? Well, I think it probably matters because they would do more investigating, and that could bring more exposure to his wife.
Killed in the early 90s. You know, Sandra Castilla, she was not dismembered, but Karen Vergata, as you said, was, as was Jessica Taylor, and Valerie Mack was too. But then he changed his MO. Was there any discussion about that in court, or was this more just straightforward, you know, I did this, I did that?
Yeah, Anjanette, very clinical, as they will say about today. Very much, here is what you're accused of. Do you understand it? Yes, I do. And the way he acknowledged, Anjanette, what he, you know, each of these questions, I equate it to if someone was ordering food at a restaurant and a server said to you, "Is this what you wanted to order?" And you would respond, "Yes, that's what I ordered." It was that emotionless. It was just very matter of fact. So you talk about the pattern. Sandra Castilla, as you mentioned, was a brutal murder, but she was not dismembered, but she was left her body in a way that was very disturbing. She had clothes that were hung around her body and all sorts of things. And then we have the dismembering of the 3 next victims, including decapitation. And then we get to the Gilgo 4. So these are the 4 sex workers that were found in December 2010. It was at that moment when police realized they had a serial killer on their hand, and they said as such to the public. So while the previous body parts had been found, it wasn't until the Gilgo 4 that anybody, the media, the public, the police, had any idea that these were all connected. And then once they started looking at the Gilgo 4 around that area of Gilgo Beach, which is on the south shore of Long Island, they started to find these other remains.
Yeah, the Sandra Castilla case, all of these are brutal, awful killings, but that one is particularly awful. You know, we talked earlier in the podcast about how she was mutilated, and it's just a really disturbing, awful case. There was also a lot of electronic evidence. We talked about the DNA evidence here, the hairs that linked Rex Heuermann to these homicides, but also there was electronic evidence. You know, his cell phone linked him to these crimes, but also there was a lot of evidence that the prosecutors said they were able to retrieve and uncover that showed his meticulous planning when it came to these crimes. And I think that adds such a layer of complexity to this, and it shows you how he studied this over a number of years. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, prosecutors revealed today that they had given over to the defense 120 terabytes of evidence and 7,015 pages of evidence. So just an incredible amount of evidence, so much so that Rex Heuermann's attorney, Mike Brown, said as such in his press conference after the hearing, saying that the prosecution did an amazing job. I mean, you know that you're up to an uphill battle when a defense attorney is acknowledging how good of a job the prosecution did. So let's talk about the burner phones. I'm glad you brought that up because the Gilgo 4, the only specifics, the details that we heard out of Rex Heuermann today actually had to do with 3 of the Gilgo 4. That would be, it was not Maureen Brainerd Barnes, but it involved Sandra Castilla, not Sandra Castilla, but 3 of the 4 Gilgo victims. And he acknowledged today, Rex Heuermann, that he used a burner phone to lure these women with promises of money because they were working as sex workers, and that he killed them and wrapped them in burlap along their head, the middle of their torso, and as well as their legs. And that was the only real acknowledgement of specifics that we got out of Rex Heuermann today. In terms of other evidence, yes, Anjanette, and we've known about this for quite some time, prosecutors went through all of his devices, and he had tried to delete a lot of these searches, but we know that they can always find these things. And so they found, in addition to violent porn, they also found it's almost like checklists of how he was going to go about committing these murders, and a to-do list, if you will, that he needed to get certain supplies. Next time, make sure to hit her harder in the head. Really disturbing things that actually matched with what prosecutors believe happened to these victims. And so they uncovered a massive amount of digital evidence in this case as well. I think that obviously no one, we're not in his head, but I will tell you this. Mike Brown said that today for Rex Heuermann, it was a relief that he had been carrying the weight of what he had done for all of these years, not just the time that he had been caught, but certainly over.
He's carrying the weight of that big ass gut. That's what he was carrying.
Over the last 3 years. Remember, he has been in virtual solitary confinement for the last 3 years. He's in a cell 23 hours a day. And so he is now left, and now he's facing 7 life sentences. He'll be sentenced June 17th. Oh, by the way, Mike Brown does expect that Rex Heuermann will make a statement during his sentencing. And so in many ways, maybe one of the reasons why we saw today this very, I don't want to say cavalier, it was just very matter of fact, like, yes, this is what I ordered, you know, this, and he answered directly to Tierney. And he didn't have to do that because Mike Brown is following along. You know, they had this all prepared, what exactly Ray Tierney was going to say to Rex Heuermann. And so you could see Mike Brown following along on this page. And Mike Brown never looked up, but Rex Heuermann, when it was time for him to acknowledge, he would look right at Ray Tierney and say, yes, I do. That's what I did. And so maybe part of the reason that he today, you know, came off as this sort of nonchalant is because he has been thinking about this, at least Mike Brown says, that over the last several weeks, he has been preparing for this day.
Well, I hope that these families, if they wish, during the sentencing, I think maybe we'll hear from some of them at that time in June, because that will give them the opportunity to address the court and to address the man who took the lives of their loved ones. And that's when we may...
Not really. Unfortunately, sorry.
Hear from them, since today was more of a clinical exercise, kind of a formality. And as you mentioned, just very much like, here's what I did. Yes, I did it. That type of thing. Kristen Thorne, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Anjanette.
Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney, who spearheaded the creation of the Gilgo Beach Task Force, spoke after Heuermann changed his plea. He was surrounded by some of the victims' family members.
This defendant walked among us, play acting as a normal suburban dad, when in reality, all along, he was obsessively targeting innocent women for death. He identified these women, lured them into Nassau County, murdered them, and left their bodies in Suffolk County. He thought that by killing them, he could silence them forever and get away with murder. But he was wrong, because it was these victims, these women, who refused to stay silent. First, that silence was broken by the victims' families, who advocated for their loved ones and agitated for justice.
To every family out there still searching, still waiting, still holding on, please do not give up hope. Even when it feels impossible, even when the years pass and the silence grow heavy.
I mean, there has to be more victims, and when eventually they will find them, I mean, can't they charge him again with more stuff? Just because he pleaded guilty to these 8 doesn't mean that like he's not able to be prosecuted for anything else.
Keep going. Your loved ones matter. They are not forgotten, and one day answers can come. Finally, to Maureen, the promise I made to you so long ago was simple. Sorry. I would never stop searching for justice for you. Through every year, every setback, every unanswered question, I carried you with me, and I kept that promise. And today, it has been done. Justice has finally found its way to you. Your voice was never silenced, your story never forgotten, and your life will always be more than the tragedy that took you. This moment is not the end, but a reminder that love endures, truth prevails, and hope never fades, because even in the darkest moments, justice will find its way.
Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, will be formally sentenced in June. Law and Crime will have that hearing covered for you.
That's another thing. I'm being very critical tonight, but like June, we gotta wait 2 months. Why do we have to wait 2 months for him to be sentenced? Can't you just sentence him now? What's the big deal? Why does everything take so long? Everything takes so long. It's like, dude, why don't you just bring his fat ass out there? He says, hey, yeah, I'm going to plead guilty. Okay, cool. Then have the sentence ready for him. Send his ass upstate. Send him to Rikers or wherever the frig he is. Why does it take so long? Why should it take that long? No, we're going to sentence you. It's just so stupid.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. And please remember the
scheduling my ass. They knew, but they drug him into court today. They didn't have a problem scheduling that, did they? Stupid. Anyway. Yeah, well, he will be too. That'll be great. I can't wait for it. Let's see. Carly, thank you so much for becoming a member. All right, let's see. I don't believe there's a scheduling issue, but I mean, I get it. You know, they go, oh yeah, we got to schedule it. Whatever. Everything is so slow.
We are following.
All right. I don't know really much about this one.
Breaking news, the husband of the American woman who seemingly vanished in the Bahamas has reportedly been arrested. He says that she fell overboard during a boat ride in choppy waters, but clearly investigators think there is more to this story. This is a breaking news edition of On the Case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. All right, let's get to this bombshell information that we are following right now. Brian Hooker is in custody. This just came down with an announcement from the Royal Bahamian Police Force in the case of Lynette Hooker. So this is what authorities are saying. Quote, police wish to inform the public that as the investigation continues, a 59-year-old male of U.S. nationality has been taken into custody shortly after 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 8th of April in Marsh Harbor. He is currently being questioned in connection with this matter. Now, in the release, the police do not specifically say the name Brian Hooker, but the Associated Press and other media outlets are saying, according to their sources, the person arrested is indeed the husband of Lynette Hooker. In a statement to Reuters, the assistant police commissioner said this, quote, we took him into custody around 7:30 p.m. this evening in Abaco for additional questioning based on some probable cause we have. He goes on to say he has been taken into custody as a suspect. He's been arrested. Now, it is unclear at this point whether Hooker has a lawyer at the time of this recording, and it's also unclear what he's being charged with. And you heard that term probable cause
Hooker has a lawyer
used by that assistant police commissioner in the statement to Reuters. We don't know what came about in this investigation that led them to believe that this was something more than the tragic accident that Brian Hooker claimed that it was. We also have learned that the U.S. Coast Guard is getting involved. They told the AP that they have opened a criminal investigation. Now, again, we don't specifically know what led to the latest developments in this case, but clearly there is something going on. Authorities have been looking for Lynette Hooker ever since Saturday night. Brian Hooker claimed that the two of them were riding on an 8-foot dinghy, one of those inflatable boats, might have an engine on the back and a hard bottom. And they were on this dinghy, and frankly, it was a tight fit for two.
TikTok, their TikTok is the sailing hookers.
Two people when Lynette fell overboard, and she had the keys to the engine. And those keys, according to Brian, went with her into the water, and no one had.
Yeah, I know what their last name is, but still.
Has seen her since. Brian reportedly claimed that he had to paddle to land, and it took him hours to get there, and he didn't get to a marina until Sunday morning when he told someone what had happened, and then they called the police, and the search began, according to media reports. Local authorities have said that it was a windy night, and frankly, less than ideal conditions to be out on such a small inflatable vessel, because winds were between 18 and 20 knots, which is roughly 20 to 25 miles per hour. Now, authorities have not found Lynette Hooker's body. It has been multiple days at this point since she, according to her husband, fell into the water. One rescue official told NBC News that they do believe at this point, and that part of the story, is we're talking about a recovery mission. Now, the AP is also reporting that U.S. authorities have interviewed Lynette's daughter, Carly Aylesworth, and she has become a key part of this story. She has told media outlets that the hookers, who often shared their travels at sea on social media, allegedly had a history of domestic violence. And specifically, she has claimed that Brian allegedly had anger issues and had made allegedly serious threats against her mom, Lynette Hooker, in the past, including in one case, she said in an interview on Fox News 2 years ago, he allegedly claimed, she says, to have threatened Lynette Hooker, saying that he was going to choke her out and throw her overboard. This couple had been reportedly traveling at sea and living this life for roughly a decade.
Wow.
Now, we'll have more on the specific claims that Lynette's daughter has been making in just a moment. And I do want to point out that they are just allegations at this point. Here's more of our coverage about the search for answers into what happened to Lynette Hooker. This was recorded before this big breaking news story. This is a video that the hookers posted to their YouTube channel just 4 weeks ago from the Bahamas. You can see they're paddleboarding down a waterway. The social media channels for this couple, and they're very active on social media producing content, is called the Sailing Hookers. And the couple would post videos of them going to some amazing places in the Caribbean. Their TikTok account says, "We sailed away from BS, a married couple living their best life." And it really appeared, looking at these videos, that that is what they were doing. This is their last TikTok post from 5 days ago of them enjoying the Bahamas. Now, this couple bought a boat in Texas 3 years ago, according to social media. Big sailboat, nice enough cabin where you can spend the night and do these long trips. And it seems like the hookers are incredibly experienced on the water. This is part of the video where they announced that they had bought this boat, showing Brian climbing up the mast with a safety harness and Lynette spotting him. If you're going to sail a boat like this, and you're going to do what they did, sailing these long haul trips, and they reportedly did this for 10 years, you really have to be experienced, you have to be a team, and you have to look out for each other. And it appears that's who the hookers were. Now, knowing just how much this couple seemed to care about safety, it does make what allegedly happened on Saturday night a little bit surprising. This is a picture that was part of the last TikTok video that the hookers posted from the Bahamas, and it's the two of them riding on what appears to be a dinghy, a small boat. It's inflatable, has a hard bottom, an engine on the back, and it can really, as you see there, only fit the two of them. According to police, they were on an 8-foot dinghy Saturday night when Lynette fell overboard, according to Brian, and vanished. So it is possible this is the exact boat that they were on. Police say that Brian told them that he and Lynette were making their way on this dinghy from Hopetown in the Bahamas to Elbow Key. Local authorities have said that the couple went out around 7:30 at night. It was dark and the conditions were not ideal. Wind gusts were reportedly between 18 and 22 knots. And if you're not a boater, we're talking between 20 and 25 miles per hour. Now, Brian claims that Lynette fell off the dinghy and she had the keys, and the keys went with her. And as you look at this picture of the boat, again, you can see there's not a lot of space on it. And you can see if there was a big gust that it definitely would be possible for someone to lose balance and fall off. And it appears also that Lynette, she's sitting on the side of the dinghy in this picture. So that story, when you hear it, you might think that definitely makes sense, that it's possible that that is what happened. But Lynette's daughter is now pushing back on that potential scenario, and she's doing it in a big way that we're going to get into in just a moment. Lynette was not reported missing for hours because it took Brian hours until Sunday morning to make it to this marina in Marsh Harbor, Bahamas. Now, it's not clear exactly where Brian claims Lynette fell into the water, but when you look at this map, you can see that Marsh Harbor is on the other side of the bay from where the hookers said they were going. Now, once ashore, investigators say that Brian told someone what had happened, and that person called authorities, and the search has been going on air, sea, land ever since in trying to find Lynette. Now, in their own words, this couple said they were living their best life. Their boat is called Soulmate, and they had been living this life at sea for a decade. It seems like everything was perfect, and I know that's cliche to say in a lot of true crime stories, but this is where things are allegedly getting a bit concerning because Lynette's daughter is going public and saying everything was not perfect for this couple. Lynette's daughter is named Carly Aylesworth. She lives in Michigan. Brian is her stepfather. She told NBC News it is unlikely, in her opinion, that her mom, who's an experienced sailor and a fit person, would, quote, just fall off the boat. On top of that, Aylesworth made a shocking claim in an interview with Fox News where she claims the hookers had a history of domestic violence. She went on to say, and this is in a Fox News interview, that Brian Hooker in the past allegedly threatened to choke Lynette out and throw her overboard. Quote, the fact that this is happening makes me believe there is more to the story, she said in that interview. And she wasn't done. She claims that this incident where Brian allegedly threatened Lynette, said he was going to choke her out and throw her overboard, she says that happened 2 years ago. I will tell you, in a background search, I was unable to find any arrests or charges in connection to Brian and Lynette Hooker. And again, these are just allegations being made by Lynette's daughter publicly. Aylesworth, the daughter, then says that Brian called her on Sunday after her mom vanished to share this news. And she says that Brian sounded monotone and relaxed when he called her. Now, when asked if she suspects foul play in this case, Aylesworth told Fox News, quote, "a little bit at the moment." Aylesworth says that she's known Brian pretty much her entire life, that he married her mom when she was about 4 years old and, quote, "replaced my dad pretty quick." She then went on to say in this Fox News interview that Brian has always been the one to make the rules of the house, and she described him as someone who has anger he hasn't processed, and she also accused him of choking out one of his daughters in the past. Again, this is an allegation that has not been confirmed by police or investigators. So you can see, though, based on those allegations, some very, very strong wording and damning claims about Brian Hooker being made by his own stepdaughter. Aylesworth is now calling for a full investigation into what happened to her mom, but Brian is now making a public statement that we'll get into in just a second. The stepdaughter is also claiming that Brian called her to tell her that authorities found a flotation device that he claims to have thrown her mom after she fell in. According to NBC News, the head of the local fire and rescue group that has been searching for Lynette since Saturday night is now calling this situation a recovery operation. The U.S. State Department told NBC it's working with Bahamian authorities to provide assistance in this case. And also today, CBS News tracked Brian Hooker down in the Bahamas. It's a video that's been posted online showing Brian standing in what appears to be a parking lot. And they asked him for his side of the story, and he did not answer their questions. But he did put a statement on Facebook, writing, quote, "I am heartbroken over the recent boat accident in unpredictable seas and high winds that caused my beloved Lynette to fall from our small dinghy near Elbow Key in the Bahamas. Despite desperate attempts to reach her, the winds and currents drove us further apart. We continue to search for her, and that is my sole focus. Our family is deeply grateful for the Bahamian people's assistance, especially that of the Hopetown Volunteer Fire and Rescue Team, Royal Bahamas Police Force, Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and the U.S. Coast Guard, who have worked tirelessly in an ongoing effort to bring Lynette back to us. Thank you to everyone for keeping Lynette in your thoughts and for your support for our family during this difficult time," end quote. I did send Brian Hooker a message to see if he has any response to the allegations that his stepdaughter has made in these recent interviews. And we also have been in touch with Carly Aylesworth, the stepdaughter, and have invited her to come on to talk more about this case. And that invitation is open. Joining us now to talk more about this case, Michael Winkleman, maritime attorney. Always great to have you on Law and Crime when we're following some of these cases out of the Caribbean. Brian Hooker's story.
Michael Winkerton.
They're on this
Winkleton
dinghy, and they're in some less than ideal conditions. And he says Lynette falls off, the keys go with her, and then he has to paddle back to shore. How plausible, just knowing the water and the cases you work, I mean, how plausible is that story that he's giving at this point?
Not very. I mean, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I don't want to cast blame on people before there's been due process. But from my view, there's definitely a lot of holes in the story. I mean, really, it's one of two things, Chris. It's either a terrible accident or it's a terrible crime. So it's not like there's a million theories that can be going around there. If we set aside the chance that it's a crime and it's just an accident, these are experienced mariners. They would have been aware of the sea conditions. Why would you hop on your dinghy to go for a ride to try to get to shore? Maybe it could have been because the conditions were rough. But if you're really an experienced mariner, you're not going to keep yourself in that position.
Yeah, why would you be in a dinghy in rough waters? Especially the experience of those two.
Unless it came out of nowhere, unless it was an unknown storm system. But from what I've seen with a little bit of research was that, there was a known cold front coming through. More often than not, with cold fronts, what comes through first is some heavy storms. So there's definitely holes there, Chris.
Because I think of the conditions, 18 to 20 knot winds, which for those who aren't boaters, we're talking like 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts. I mean, to be on and you look back at their YouTube, they put out a lot, and you can see like they know what they're doing. I mean, they've done some serious trips. Like, how surprising is it that someone would go out in a dinghy in those type of conditions?
Yeah, exactly. Very surprising. Unless they were trying to avoid a storm. That would be plausible to me, that maybe they were trying to hit land, so that's why they were trying to do that. But if that were the case, again, you would have thought they would have left way earlier.
Yeah, and going out at 7:30 at night, it's dark. There's just part of it. It doesn't seem like the type of thing, people who regularly practice safety, which it appears they do, that they would go with. At the same time, how likely is it that we'll find Lynette Hooker's body? I know that local authorities have said this is more a recovery mission at this point. It's been a couple of days. She went overboard off of this dinghy, according to Brian, at night. I mean, what kind of happens here in that part of the investigation?
So the statistics show that if you're not found within the first 24 hours, your chances of survival are infinitesimally small. I mean, and even to me, I think there's more holes in the story from Brian about her going overboard, him not being able to get to her. I know if my wife were in the water, I mean, there should have been life jackets on the vessel. I mean, I would be doing everything I could, and I would most likely put myself in the water to go and rescue my wife. So just more holes from my perspective.
Like at this point, if you're the Bahamian authorities and you're trying to figure out what happened, you don't have a body to this point. All of this happened in the middle of the night. He doesn't have the keys to the vessel. He says that he paddles back to shore to Marsh Harbor. I mean, how do you go about this investigation to try and, find out whether his story is actually the truth?
Yeah, so I mean, that's basically crime investigation 101. Of course, I'm always on the civil side. When people get hurt, I represent them in civil cases. But at the end of the day, the investigation isn't that difficult in what I would do versus what criminal authorities would do. But you're going to have a limited data set. I mean, the main thing is going to be Brian's story, and are they buying it? If they had an opportunity to check his blood alcohol levels to see whether or not he was intoxicated. But what was the reason they were going there? Were they going there to avoid bad weather, or were they going there to go to a bar? I mean, I'm a native Miamian. I spent plenty of time in the Bahamas and the Caribbean, and there's lots of fun bars on land in the Bahamas. The daughters commented that they were drinkers and that there was some volatility in the relationship. You would, of course, want to do an interview with the daughter as well. I know the FBI is involved. So I think between the Royal Bahamian Authorities and the FBI, they're going to have some data to sift through. And the question is it going to be enough to actually charge Brian with a crime? Or when all the data is sifted through, do people determine that it was an accident?
And the stepdaughter, I mean, she has gone scorched earth in these interviews in terms of the allegations she's making. I mean, being very public and saying that allegedly this relationship was not as perfect as it looked on social media, that there was a history of domestic violence, in her words. She made allegations about them drinking and just volatility in the relationship. How much does that factor in? And if you know the Bahamian authorities, how they go about it, because she said, at least in the Fox News interview that she did, that she called the Bahamian authorities and she couldn't really get through. And apparently she has a lawyer. How much can that actually factor into trying to figure out in that moment how Lynette Hooker goes overboard?
I think it played considerable weight. I think her name was Carly, and Carly's clearly coming out and telling a very strong narrative about a very rocky relationship, about people that were big drinkers, that they had a volatile relationship. And those are definitely factors that any investigating authority would look into and give significant weight just to really put together the pieces of the puzzle.
And it seems like, the other part of it too is she said that Brian sounded monotone and calm when he called her with the news. And like, on one hand, I don't know how I would respond, making that phone call if it was me. At the same time, this is someone who paddled a heck of a long way, apparently, back to shore because he didn't have keys to the engine after she went overboard. And he releases this statement on Facebook. And Facebook's a real casual way to release a statement as opposed to going through like a law firm. But it read to me like a lawyer wrote this. I don't know what his background is, but he thanked every single, department that's a part of this, saying, my family appreciates it. It just came off to me as professionally written, not saying that that's a bad thing. But what stood out to you in the statement that he made?
I completely agree, Chris. Having read the statement, it was very short. It was very terse. It didn't really have a lot of emotion behind it. If you wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, he's in a state of shock and maybe someone wrote it on his behalf. But it did feel very generic, sort of what ChatGPT would tell you to write in that kind of a situation. And the fact that he was cold and monotone when telling the story, again, benefit of the doubt says, yeah, he's in a state of shock. But in my experience, and I deal with grieving families all the time, people have been through terrible, terrible traumas. That's not the response that I generally see. The response that I generally see is tremendous grief, tremendous overwhelm, tremendous sadness, tremendous tears. And that not being there, does that raise red flags? Certainly. But again, to be clear, I do think Brian should be entitled to due process. I think we should get to the bottom of it. Of course, you and I are just giving our opinions. But yes, I do think there's a lot of red flags that show something problematic here.
What you just think of, I just think of what it must have been like if his story is true. You think of this woman you called the love of your life going overboard, and you're trying to get to her and you can't because the current is pushing you away, and then you have to paddle ashore. It sounds terrifying and incredible.
Why would he not have the key to the dinghy? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Incredibly sad if that's what happened. Certainly it's sad either way. If you were his attorney, what type of advice does an attorney give him at this point? He's in a foreign country. It's not just a case where your wife went overboard anymore, because you have a stepdaughter who is making some very serious allegations that's turned the heat up on you as this investigation's ongoing. What's typically the advice that you would give someone in his situation?
Well, that's a tricky question for me, Chris, because I'm on the civil side. So I'm usually prosecuting the case, pushing forward the case. So with criminal defense attorneys, their
At My Happy Place donated $5 through Super Chat.
Brian may have admitted to him that he did it, but then he can't necessarily divulge that. Having said that, let's assume it really was an accident.
Do that. Thank
and
you.
I was he was my client. I would want to put him on television to tell the story about what happened, because in today's world, narrative shifts so quickly. So if you're trying to not necessarily control the narrative, but if you're trying to get the truth out, sit down with you, talk to Chris and say, hey, look, this is what happened. This is why it happened. Yeah, I was in a state of shock at first, and this is the love of my life. I wish I had gone in after, but put it out there. So to me, when you doing that versus,
I think I'm done. My DoorDashes have been really bad recently. I don't know why.
Versus putting out these cold and sort of terse statements, again, more red flags.
It certainly is, and we did reach out to him. And he's.
It's. Thank you so much. I just appreciate you being here. Honestly, we're not using it up over here.
I figured you did.
He's welcome to come on. And we would love to hear his side of the story, even though we know it's an incredibly tough time with what he's alleging took place. Is he likely at this point, with how the Bahamian authorities in some of these cases, and I know you're on the civil side, is he free to go? He hasn't been charged, but in terms of, the Bahamians, as the search is ongoing, if he wanted to head back to the United States, would he be free to do that?
So what I've seen in real time is that there have been no charges that have been filed.
So why is he arrested then? I don't understand that. Does anybody understand that?
I know the Bahamian authorities would often say something like, look, we don't want you to leave the island. Practically speaking, legally speaking, could he leave the island? Yes. If they wanted to, could they prevent him from getting on a plane or a boat? Sure. But given the fact that he has not been charged, I do.
Can you imagine if he would leave, if he left? Can you imagine?
Do you think he's free to leave the country?
And you wonder, if, if he does have a lawyer, someone advising him, if he was to leave at this point, what type of message would that send, even if he is, completely innocent and this was a terrible, terrible accident? How are the Bahamians when it comes to these types of searches and some of these cases that play out? It's obviously a huge tourist destination, a lot of boaters, not just people like the hookers, but I used to live in South Florida. It'd be very easy to just run a boat over, to the west end of the Bahamas. How are the Bahamians when it comes to cases like this?
I think they're great. In my experience, and I've dealt with them dozens and dozens of times, they're very passionate people. They want to get to the bottom of situations. They're often working in concert with the FBI, and they're very good at their job, particularly the Royal Bahamas Maritime Agency. They are terrific at investigating accidents.
All right, I'm done with this. Let's see. The sailing hookers. So this is 4 weeks ago.
o'clock at night. No, 6:45 at night.
You can tell they're TikTokers. Oh, that's not good. It's terrible. Let me see.
We do have an update on the talks involving Pima County deputies involving Sheriff Chris Nanos. He now has 10 business days to respond to a list of questions. News 4 Tucson's Andrew Capasso is live in downtown with more on what's happening out there. Andrew.
Yeah, Monica, good evening to you. This meeting between the Board of Supervisors wrapping up just in the past hour. The supervisors meeting behind closed doors with outside counsel, deciding how to move forward. So now we know what the Board of Supervisors, the information they want from the sheriff. First, his time with the El Paso Police Department. That includes the time he was.
His hair just gets me every time.
Haters are going to hate. There, why he left, and the discipline he faced. Remember, there were some questions about what was in the sheriff's resume. The sheriff had said it was a clerical error, and the correct resume is in his personnel file. The other thing the Board of
He has 10 days. Excuse me. He has 10 days to respond for the questions that. Just look at. I mean, it's just.
Supervisors wants to know disciplinary action involving his former opponent in the sheriff's race, Heather Lappin, also involving Aaron Cross. Also, what is happening to avoid the appearance of retaliation. Third, any talks he's had with immigration enforcement authorities since 2021. And finally, questions about the budget for the sheriff's department, including what the sheriff is doing to stay within budget moving forward. So back out here live,
I'm sorry.
Spoke just a few minutes ago with Pima County Supervisor Matt Hines. He brought this item forward to the board. He says the sheriff, as you mentioned, Monica, has 10 business days.
I thought that they're not. No, I think that they have to be satisfied with the responses. I thought.
To respond to this list of concerns from the Board of Supervisors. It can either be in a written form or it can be here in the public hearing room at the next supervisors meeting. Now, Supervisor Hines says, though, if the sheriff does not comply, if he doesn't respond to these requests, or if he doesn't answer to the satisfaction of the supervisors, then according to the law which is in place, the supervisors could take steps to remove Sheriff Nanos from that office. So there's going to be a lot happening here in the next 2 weeks. I've just reached out to the Sheriff's Department to try to get a response to this Board of Supervisor action from the sheriff. I have not heard back yet. We're going to continue to follow it. As soon as we get more details, we'll send it your way. That is the latest. Live downtown, I'm Andrew Capasso. News 4 Tucson. Monica, for now, we'll send it back to you.
Oh man, they're after him. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm fading out. I can't stop yawning. I'm sorry. Yeah, yes, they can vote together if they're not satisfied. I should probably go to bed. I'm exhausted. My grandma was in the ER all day. She had some sort of infection, so that was fun. She's home now. She's okay. Is there a Discord for this channel? Ooh, no Discord. She's all right. She just had to get some antibiotics. Yeah, she just had some toast. Do most channels have Discords? Hey, hello, Miss Sharon. Thank you. It's good to see you. I know I was yawning big time. Yeah, she's home. She was just there. It was just it was just busy all day, like at the ER. So anyway, Mel did what? What did Mel do? T Rizzle has one. I think personally, the reason that I don't have a Discord and that I'm not really active on a Discord is because I try to live as drama free as possible. And I think that moderating Discords is not something that I would ever want to do. I don't have patience for some of the bullshit that I've seen in Discords. You know, the screen grabbing and, you know, to me, I don't know. Feels like it sucks. Yeah, I was in Manimal's Discord. Although, like I said, I'm just not active. I'm not active on Discord. I'm active on Instagram. That's and a little on Twitter. Not as much on Twitter. A little bit, not much, but more so Instagram than anything. My light just went out. And matter of fact, you can follow me in JD_the_lab. I'm very active on there. Lights out, that's right. You guys want to hear the drums? Regular outro or drums outro? You pick. This is for you guys. X, not Twitter, that's right. The E's have a Discord, really? They probably, but see, they probably have a good one. Mine would suck. Oops.
Make it permanent! Make it permanent now!
Ladies and gentlemen, Lab After Dark is starting shortly.
Woo! I don't know how it works. I talked to him the other day. It's not so good. I don't want to make one this weekend. That seems like that's too much work. I'm sucking wind there. Night, Janet. Night, Kelly K. Mary. Good night, Mary. Tell Papa said what's up.
Lab After Dark is starting soon.
Let's get the drums. It's an outro. You don't
After Dark is starting soon.
Right.
Well, you opened that Pandora's door.
I was actually just sitting down to pee, but whatever, you know.
What's the point in causing any ruckus?
Like the whole movement recently? Like, isn't that kind of, or is that not a thing?
I'm not sure. I don't know why they have such big receipts, and it doesn't feel like real paper. It feels like recycled, like
It's
spider
like
webs or
waxy.
something.
It's like so they can print on it or something. I don't know.
No, you can print on paper. What does that mean?
I don't know. Maybe it just holds up better, like in weather.
What?
If it gets rained on?
If the receipt gets rained on, it holds up better in weather?
Yeah, maybe. It's like waxy.
But you said so they can print on it. They can print on paper, Lucas.
Yeah, I don't. It might show up better.
What?
Might show up better on that.
Well, people have been printing on paper for
but
time
people
immemorial.
Print on other things that show up better. There's different kinds of paper.
How does that show up better?
There's different kinds of paper.
I just don't understand what you're saying.
I don't know. I don't know either.
Such a weird way to go about it.
Well, then look up why they fucking have weird receipt paper.
That's not a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's weird. It's a different kind of paper. I think it's just recycled paper.
Recycled paper.
Yeah. You didn't know you can recycle paper?
Yeah. I know you can recycle paper, but I just didn't know that it would be.
Why is everything an argument with you?
It's not an argument. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just I'm curious.
About what?
Receipts.
Dude, one time.
Dude, I blew my nose on a receipt one time. I had I had nothing else.
Was it a CVS one?
No. I don't know
what kind of paper was it?
It wasn't the good. It was the recycled kind.
It was the bad paper?
Yeah, it was not good.
Dude, you, for some reason, Lucas invited me over for dinner last night. Mm-hmm. And I was really excited. And I thought it was a dinner party, like a formal dinner party.
This is such bullshit. Because, Josh, how many times do you invite me over for dinner after work?
Never.
All the time.
Okay.
I had meatloaf at your house a couple weeks ago, and you know it.
So? It wasn't a dinner party, though.
You asked me to come over for chili dogs, too.
I know. I did.
How is that not? So do I say, oh, is it a dinner party?
You didn't invite me.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend did.
Yeah, you were coming to my house. Just you, me, and her.
And the way that it was presented to me was that it was a formal invitation. So I
didn't invite you.
I know.
Because I don't care whether you were there or not.
Yeah, I understand that. None of that. That's not important. But I thought when I was invited
that's not what you thought. You were making a mockery of it. You were trying to be funny. You were getting other people riled up and into it. You were doing what you do.
What do I do?
You just take things. You just like manipulate things.
Okay, so I was like, hey, like I'm invited. I was telling her like, hey, I thought it was nice. Like Lucas's girlfriend invited me over for dinner. And I was asking Lucas about it, and he was like making it seem like, oh, yeah, come over and eat. We're going to sit on the couch and eat. And I'm like, I thought this was like a dinner party. And he's like, no, it's not a dinner party.
Now you're making me sound like an asshole. I said, it's not a dinner party. You could come over and have food, or you don't have to.
Right. But you never invited me anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, I didn't.
So then I said to him, well, it sounds like you don't even want me there. And so I had this whole plan. I was going to bring wine.
What? You're gonna bring wine?
Bring wine to the dinner party. Talking to the microphone, Peyton. Bring wine. And I was going to wear a tie. I asked him if I could wear a tie.
He said that he was going to lock me out of his house.
That's not it. You were like, oh, do I get a +1? Josh, do you even fucking own a tie? I've never seen you wear a tie.
Yeah, I own a tie. I have one hanging. Yeah. And I have a dress shirt.
And he thought that was the occasion to bust it out.
I felt like it was a formal, like we were having like an adult dinner party. And I thought there was going to be more people there too.
Was there?
No.
Did I tell you that there was going to be more people there?
You didn't. You uninvited me at the last minute.
You were making a mockery of it.
I wasn't making a mockery of anything. I was excited.
No. You were making a mockery.
What did I show up with?
Wine and 3 wine glasses. And I did enjoy the wine. But where did we sit and eat? On the fucking couch?
Why didn't we sit at the table?
Because it was not a dinner party, and I was making that very fucking clear.
I still don't understand why we weren't at the table. The table is clean.
It was perfect. It was.
Why didn't we sit at the table?
Because maybe if you didn't make a mockery of it, we could have sat at the table.
I didn't make a mockery.
Yes,
I was excited.
No, you weren't. You were not excited to come over.
Yeah, I was.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was.
You was
excited.
Josh,
and
you're telling me that none of it, the whole day, none of it was a joke to you?
None of it. Not one.
Oh, okay. So the other people that got involved, it wasn't funny to them?
No. They were just happy for me.
It's just not true. And that's a lie. You're just lying to the people.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
Josh.
Okay, was it funny though?
No. Did I laugh once?
Yeah, you laughed. And you kept yelling, you're making a mockery of this. But I didn't. I was just excited. I thought we were all going to dress up.
And if I would have saw you in a fucking tie, you'd have been outside.
I was excited to
I was wearing sweats.
I saw.
In a sweatshirt.
No shirt underneath.
No shirt underneath.
Every time.
I didn't have underwear on.
God. You're wearing no underwear at all.
I didn't have underwear on at all.
Socks?
No, I don't think I had socks on. That's not a dinner party.
I was going to wear a tie with slacks.
Slacks.
But I did bring...
That's the point I'm trying to make. You were making a mockery of the situation.
It seems like you were the one...
No, because all of a sudden around 3 o'clock, when you get your fucking second wind every day and you get all fired up, then it turned into a fucking dinner party.
I wanted it to be a dinner party.
Well, you could have said, "Can we have a dinner party sometime?"
Can we?
Yeah.
And where we can all dress up?
Yeah.
I brought wine.
Not a dinner party. That's just a friend bringing wine to my house.
Bought 3 wine glasses too.
Yeah, that was weird. Do you want those back? They're in my sink.
They're yours, baby. It's casualty of the dinner party. We had a dinner party whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah. I was wearing no shirt and no underwear. That's not a dinner party.
And no socks.
And no socks. And we didn't sit at a table. We were watching Kenny versus Spinny.
I was disappointed by the no table thing.
Well, next time, if there's a dinner party...
Thank you for the invite, though. I do appreciate it.
I didn't invite you. I actually uninvited you.
Like twice. But there was no way I wasn't showing up. You know that, right?
I was well aware.
Like I was bound and determined.
But I was making sure in front of other people that I wasn't going to be mocked.
I wasn't making a mockery.
Yes, you were.
That's just not...
Josh, you were being silly. And you turned the whole thing into a mockery.
You're being silly? What are you, 90? You're being silly?
Yeah, you're goofing off.
Why? Because I wanted to have a dinner party?
No malarkey.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Malarkey.
Yeah.
I asked for a +1. I didn't get that.
Absolutely not.
Why couldn't I bring somebody? You made me come by myself.
I didn't make you.
And I was late.
If you showed up with somebody, I wouldn't have.
Was I late?
I said if you showed up with a tie or with certain people, you will be outside.
If I wore a tie, you would have really put... I was going to slick my hair back and show up in a tie.
Mockery.
How's that a mockery? I just wanted to look nice.
No, that's not what you were doing because I told you what the evening was going to be.
Yeah, so here's the best part about that whole thing. Mm-hmm. I thought this was going to be some upscale like evening, some high class.
He did not think this is where it's
your mic's off.
Unbelievable.
I thought there was going to be this up class like high scale dinner, like it was going to be like pasta primavera and garlic knots and dipping the bread in oil and vinegar.
What?
At one point, I look over at Lucas. and he has a spaghetti sandwich that he smashed 2 pieces of garlic bread onto the middle of the sandwich, and he's sitting there eating. Can you imagine me wearing a tie, turning and looking and seeing that god awful
hair?
That's what I was saying. That was my point. It was not a dinner party.
You were the one that made a mockery of it. If you ask
I
me.
did not.
Yeah,
I did not want a dinner party.
You didn't respect.
So I behaved in a manner.
You didn't respect your guests.
No,
I know.
It was you.
I'm a guest. I was an invited guest.
But you were invited to hang out and possibly grab something to eat if you wanted to.
No, that was the thing. That was the invite. Hey, I'm making pasta primavera. Please show up at 6 on the dot.
That's not what it said.
Bring your finest crystal.
It probably said, "Hey, I'm making some spaghetti, and if you want some, come over."
It wasn't spaghetti. It was pasta primavera.
Okay, pasta primavera, and if you want some, come over.
And I came over.
That's not a dinner party.
What do you? Okay, weigh in. Is that a dinner party?
I don't know.
So
I'm kind of in the middle.
So we were eating that whether you were coming over or not. I feel like a dinner party is a special menu where you make enough for everybody.
You did. You made enough for me.
But if you didn't come, those were my leftovers for cold spaghetti sandwiches.
Yeah, but you ate that after the dinner itself.
Yeah, I know. I got a second wind. I was
only there 2 hours, and I saw you eating one. It was disgustingly like.
It's good.
You ate it violently too.
It was good. It wasn't a dinner party, but we can have a dinner party at some point.
I just wanted to thank you for the invite. Thank you.
I didn't invite you.
Thank your lovely girlfriend for the beautiful meal.
I'll let her know.
I hope you guys enjoyed the wine.
I did.
That I spent money on.
Yeah, I appreciate the wine.
And I showed up
the
with
wine
3.
glasses were weird, but whatever.
Why was that weird? Did you have wine glasses?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just thought I'd bring the fine crystal. It was a dinner.
Fine crystal.
Yeah, it was a dinner party.
Okay.
Who shows up with wine? Did you drink some wine?
All right, dude, I'm sorry for my bad behavior at your dinner party.
You could have wore underwear. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Or socks.
And
or a shirt.
You're mad at me because I wanted to wear a tie, but you didn't want to wear underwear.
Yeah, that was the point. Like, you were like gonna fuck up my evening by trying to make it all fucking fancy. I wanted to chill.
In all honesty, all 100% honesty, how pissed off were you? Were you annoyed with me?
Oh yeah.
Bad, huh?
Oh yeah. I don't know the name.
Well, he's out then. Cut him out because we don't know his name.
That one.
Don't. Keep quiet.
Columbine guys.
I do too. I find them way more fascinating than Nikki Cruz.
They're easily the most interesting.
They're
really? I didn't think so.
Columbine.
Why?
Because they're the first of the real first ones, and they're.
Well, yeah, that's what started the trend.
Yeah,
and
right.
there's a
The
bunch
trend.
of theirs. They had a bunch of journals and a lot of
You could read everyone's manifestos. There's a ton of them out there.
Put the microphone in front of your face.
because I think what started that is they were buddy and they wrote about how they
Seriously,
You're pushing me to the edge.
How long?
Ryan was saying something informational, and then you're going to get mad about me hitting it with the side
How
again.
long have you been doing this? What is your problem?
We'll talk about it next time when you hear it play back with perfect sound.
You're so lazy that you have to tilt your head because you're too tired to hold it up straight like a child. You have to tilt your head
sometimes.
So tilt your head, but compensate then.
Okay, well
Keep
maybe
your-
I don't have a there's no.
Just keep your.
I'm not in a comfortable position.
In a chair.
Yeah.
What do you want to lay on your back, Lucas?
No,
How
just
do
a
you wanna-
different chair. It's cold in here, and it's a metal chair, and my butt is cold.
So that makes
So
you.
I was trying to get into
that makes you
a
tilt your
different
head.
position.
That makes you tilt your head. You're gonna
Sometimes.
You're gonna be warmer by tilting your head.
I could be.
You can't
Yeah,
be.
because my head, my neck would be touching my shoulder, which would be body heat on my neck.
I just don't understand why I have to fight you about the microphone every week.
I'm trying right now.
You're trying.
You reminded me, and you freak out. The thing is,
Lucas high maintenance?
not even a little bit. He just freaks out if I talk one time to the side of the mic. He just like fucking loses his shit. Ryan, continue.
What do you want me? What do you want me to say to that?
Just like, hey, just like, do like, hey, talking to the mic, like,
No,
and not go. Oh,
I'm tired of patting you on the back, saying, "Please talk into the mic." Talking to the fucking mic.
Well, obviously, I don't respond well to you being a total psychopath about
Don't
it.
respond well to me. What do you mean you don't respond well to me? What does that have to? I'm telling you.
Now we're in an argument instead of you just being a normal person saying, "Hey, can you talk right directly into the mic?" No, you made it a whole thing, and now we're off topic about a fucking mic.
Right. Well, that's how the show works. Is that you have to talk into the mic? It's a big part of the show.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone will be able to hear what I said when my head was tilted.
I don't. I really don't care. I want you to talk into.
Am I not doing it?
You are now.
You could have gone about it a different way. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't want to.
Well,
because
okay.
I've talked to you about this many times.
Oh, I'm sorry, Master. I'm sorry, Master. It'll never happen again, Master.
Don't call me Master. Don't.
Okay, sorry, boss. It won't happen again.
Don't do that either. Just say,
okay,
yeah.
fearless leader. I won't do it again.
Fearless leader. What? Fearlessly. Now you're just mocking me. Why are you mocking me? I'm
not.
Yeah, you are.
No, dude. I look up to you, and I'm sorry, and I won't. I don't like letting you down.
Look up to you. I know in all of my.
Shut up, Ryan.
Yeah, like microphones, like are this weird thing where they have like things all around it, even on the sides of it. So if you do happen to tilt your head, that it will still pick it up.
So it's like a 360 degree mic.
There's not just a mic, like just a one right in the very front that you could. That's the only place that it will pick up any sound. Dude, you fart and it picks it up loud and clear.
Are you ready?
I can tilt my head.
Are you ready?
Sometimes.
Are you ready for?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for a lesson, real quick?
No, I'm not really. Like, because I'm just bored.
Okay, your mic's off. Now listen to me. This is how microphones work, okay? You piss me. Your mic's off. Don't even say a word because your mic's off, dude.
Did you just call him a mouth breather?
Don't even try and talk into your mic right now because I'm letting you know how microphones work. That's a special microphone. Nobody can hear you, Lucas.
Still gonna respond. You can hear me.
I can't hear you.
I'm not just gonna let you just like go on like it's like enough, dude.
Has he been saying something? Because I can't hear it.
He's been talking for the last 2 minutes, and I'm not letting him talk because he doesn't listen. He thinks that.
Do you think I retained any of that?
Mic's off, dude. There's.
I can't even tell you the two mics you were talking about because I don't listen when you're gonna act like a freaking dictator.
A dictator. I just want you to talk into the microphone. That's it. I need you to listen.
Have I not been talking?
But your mic's off. Stop talking.